Listen, I mean, it's our mindset. We're not worried about the trade deadline or what could happen or what can't happen. We gotta get off to a hard start for us. Because at the end of the day, our goal is to bring a championship to the city of San Diego, and for us to do that, we gotta get off to a hot start. It doesn't matter what the trade deadline brings or comes with. So, as a group, we just gotta enjoy this off, and when we get back, play baseball like we've been playing this last week, and continue playing baseball like we've been playing this last couple of weeks. So if we do that, then we're gonna.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Marty Time TV and the Section 1904 podcast. I am Marty Caswell. That is AJ Cassavell, kind enough to take time during his busy all-star break. We are brought to you by the all-new Hummel Casino Resort, the Players Place. You heard it there from Manny Machado. You heard it from Craig Stammen in postgame. You heard it there from Jake Cronenworth. You've heard it from Tatis. You heard it from AJ Preller, the general manager, when he spoke during his draft conference. This next stretch, this road trip, is perhaps a defining road trip for the Padres 2026 season. It's going to shape what they do at the deadline. AJ, can you understate how big this upcoming road trip starting in Kansas City is?
Yeah, it's huge. And the Kansas City part, maybe not as huge, like you kind of expect. I mean, if they end up not winning that series, that's not a good thing. But Atlanta and Miami are two teams that they'll be able to gauge kind of where they are in contention in the National League against two contenders. And they'll be able to, if they can win, make up some ground on teams that they're trying to chase down, the Marlins in particular. I think a lot of people want to look at the wild card standings and see where the Padres are and say,
yeah, well,
they're close enough, and the teams ahead of them aren't really experienced, or they're not traditionally all that good. The Marlins are a pretty good team. And I would be, if I like that I'm looking ahead to that series. I've said it a few times. Like, I can't remember going to Marlins Park and being like excited about a series that like with playoff implications, but that's what we're gonna get, and it's gonna be a really big trip.
It's going to be in Florida, in Miami. It's going to be hot and muggy, and I'm sure just like exhausting, right? Maybe you're going to have like rain delays, who knows what not, but it's going to be an exhausting trip. I don't know you'll get energy from that fan base because we know what that scene is like in Miami. Do we have any idea of what the pitching matchup is going to look like to start the second half? Craig Stammen has a little bit of time to go ahead and tinker with things. What do they have? What makes sense to tinker with?
We'll find out today.
Okay.
I think what the pitching matchups will be. I don't think we know what they are, but it would make sense to start with Michael King. His first half ended on Wednesday, I want to say, so that would be a 9-day break for him. I think that makes the most sense. And then I think we've also established that beyond Michael King, this rotation is pretty much a bit of a toss up.
Yeah.
Like the other 5 guys in the rotation, I don't know what you can expect to get from them. So, whoever's freshest goes second, and then third, and then fourth, and then fifth, and most likely, if you can get 5 innings from those guys and hand it over to the bullpen, it's not sustainable in the long run, but it is sustainable if you're eventually going to get other guys back from injury, and eventually it's not going to be this way.
Okay, I was just going to ask you a question about the trade deadline, which is 2.5 weeks away, right? But as you're saying this, Craig Stammen, his coaching staff, and Ruben Yebla, as they are putting out that rotation, they have one guy right now. They have Michael King, and then you go out from there. Just based on what you're saying, I mean, how many starting pitchers can you realistically bring in? By the way, I noticed that the Milwaukee Brewers have just added an arm, in Lance McCullers. So one of the best teams in baseball is not wasting any time looking for more depth of starting pitching, because as we know, you can never, ever, ever have enough starting pitching. And the Padres have right now one guy.
Yeah. And I think they can, I think at the deadline, in theory, they could add 2 guys, but they're not going to be the Milwaukee Brewers and do this aggressively right now. And I guess you can make the case for adding one arm because of the direness of the rotation right now. But I would expect the Padres deadline to come down to August 3rd. They want to see what they have. They want to see what their record is. There's a possibility, and AJ Preller acknowledged it in so many words last week, that they sell. There's a possibility they can go a lot of different directions. They could buy, they could sell, they could do a combination of both. They could sell some guys and get some major league guys so that they're still, in theory, competitive this season. But I also don't think you're winning anything unless you add a starting pitcher. So all that's on the table, and they're going to wait and kind of see which direction they can go, because the more data you have, the better informed your decisions are.
Yeah.
That being said, like everyone needs starting pitching, every single team in baseball. The Padres need it more than anyone else. They need it more than anyone else because if they get it, they have the makings of a roster that could make a run.
Based on what you've seen in a very, very, very small sample size, okay, and I'm just going to go on the recent stretch the Padres have had. Do they have enough? Are you seeing enough? Are you seeing any better signs from this offense? And I'm going to start with Manny Machado, who for the first time in a long time, as he mentioned in postgame, he's going to look up and his average will start with a 2 instead of a 1. Do they have enough offense to help maybe take some pressure off of this pitching staff?
Yeah. Yes, they have for a month now. I mean, if you look at the last month, this has not been a good offense, but it's been a perfectly adequate offense. Dating back to the month before the All-Star break. So what would that have been? That would have been June 13th to July 13th. I want to say they were 15th in runs, 16th in OPS, 11th in weighted runs created plus. I know that's a lot of weird sounding letters, and Manny Machado probably wouldn't appreciate it, but like that's the number that I look at for like how has this offense been based, and you can adjust for the ballparks they played in and the league they play in. So 11th, like that is, I think Padre fans would take the 11th best offense the rest of the way. They'd be happy with it because that means you're probably getting production from Manny Machado. Tatis, I think he was real strong for a while, maybe tailed off a little bit at the end, but that's fine. Like you're getting enough from those guys. You clearly like more from Jackson Merrill. You clearly like more from Xander Bogaerts, but you'll take the 11th best offense the rest of the way. I think that's if they have the 11th best offense for the rest of the season, add a pitcher and then get a couple other pitchers healthy, that's a playoff team. I don't know if that's what we're going to get because for the first 2.5 months of the season, it was literally the worst offense in baseball.
This is your next headline. The Padres offense, perfectly adequate, right? Perfectly adequate. Quick note. I know on Luis Campusano, right? Any reason for concern with him, or just maybe extra rest for him? Give him a couple of days off going to the break.
We'll find out on Friday if there's any reason for concern. But the way it was described to us was that it wasn't related to the oblique issue.
Okay.
So that tells me that's a very good sign because obliques take time. And like with Samad Taylor, even Samad Taylor's minor oblique injury, like an oblique injury is not something you're ever going to rush back because it needs to heal or it's going to happen again and you're going to start over from square one. So this is not that. And I think Campusano will be behind the plate either Friday or Saturday. Who knows? Maybe they give him an extra day, but it doesn't sound too serious.
Okay, good. That's good news. Just imagine that right now, here we are a couple weeks before the trade deadline, and we're wondering about, will they have Samad Taylor and Luis Campusano back to go ahead and help fortify this offense, which has been adequate. They've been a lot better than we've seen the first couple of months. All right. We heard the other AJ speak during his draft Zoom about how his approach at the deadline could veer either direction based on how this team plays in this road trip. If they were to sell, are they big sellers? Are we talking Mason Miller sort of a person and he was besieged with questions at the All-Star break? Or do you think it's more smaller moves? And moving Morojón isn't a smaller move, right? He's been a very, very valuable piece of that bullpen, but he's a guy that can leave in free agency. What sort of move do you think the Padres would veer towards should they become sellers?
Yeah, I still don't think they're trading Mason Miller, even if they're sellers, just because the price tag will be so high that the only general manager in baseball who would meet that price tag would be AJ Preller, and he can't trade with himself. So I think Mason Miller is like probably off the table. I think AJ Preller will field calls on Mason Miller if they end up selling. He'll field calls on anyone all the time anyway, because that's all he does. That's just the way he operates.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's more like what you had in mind. Morejón. I mean, Michael King is 1 year with player options.
Wow.
Like those kinds of. If you're selling, you should look to sell as much as you can, and get as much value back. But they don't want to sell. I think if they're in a position where, and you know what, they might be justified in not wanting to sell. If it's 3.5, if this were the deadline right now, I think you can make even though their playoff odds, according to Fangraphs, are, I want to say 13%. I still think you can you could justify not selling and buying even because of where this roster is and because of like the clear upgrades that are needed to turn it into a more complete roster and the teams ahead of them. They can. I think there's no juggernaut in the National League wildcard race. The Padres could be that 6th seed very easily.
Okay, on this last homestand, when the Blue Jays were in town, we had a chance to speak with Dylan Cease, who revealed that he actually got to watch Nick Pivetta throw a bullpen session. He was out there hanging out with the Padres bullpen, watching Pivetta and watch Michael King throw sessions. What do we know about Pivetta and Musgrove and where they are in their rehab process?
Probably a month out, I would say, before we start getting
real updates.
Like before, no, not real updates. I think we'll have updates before then. Before we start talking about them coming back, they're going to obviously need rehab. I don't know when that'll be, but Nick Pivetta is probably getting relatively close to starting to facing hitters because he's thrown so many. I think he's thrown 4 or 5 bullpens. They're not going to rush these things because obviously elbow injuries are very tricky, and you want to have these guys healthy down the stretch, and one more setback and all of a sudden they could be out for the season. So Pivetta ahead of Musgrove, maybe mid-August. Musgrove maybe early September, late August. Those are just, the Padres don't want to put a timeline on it, so this is just me trying to map out what it could be based on where they are now throwing bullpens, based on, I mean, I guess if you in theory, if you look at it, they need a full buildup. It would be Pivetta is somewhere around February 26th in spring training, and Musgrove's probably somewhere around February 18th. So another month for Pivetta, another month or so, and then another maybe month and change for Musgrove.
Wow, you've really done the work. Okay, so right now it's either February 26th or February 18th, depending on which. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and temper my expectations for these guys.
Just in terms of like where they are and what, like that, they're doing the stuff they would be doing maybe on those dates.
Right.
So extrapolate that to where they would be in a spring training to getting to the actual season on April 1st or whatever. That's how far away they are.
Okay, and where is Giolito? Do they expect him back anytime soon?
He's throwing. Yeah, probably before those guys.
Okay.
He's throwing. I think his elbow's all right. But the other question with Giolito is like, which Giolito are you getting? Like he's been even within his 7 or 8 starts with the Padres, it's been a roller coaster. So if you're getting the good version of him, fantastic. I think Giolito could be an innings eater who can go quality starts, 6 innings, 3 runs, like maybe more so than some of the guys they have in their rotation now, but he's not the difference maker that and Musgrove are.
Okay, AJ Cassavell, I'm going to give you can go ahead and think about this if you want, because I'm putting you on the spot right now, but I want you to start with 3 reasons why the Padres will be a playoff team and 3 reasons they won't. Let's go ahead and end with some optimism. 3 biggest reasons they will not.
Well, the biggest reason they won't be a playoff team is because the situation they put themselves in right now. Just like mathematically, they're 3.5 games back with 5 teams to jump. So that's hard to do. Like we know that it's not impossible. Clearly, like lots of teams have done it, but the odds are stacked against them. So like I'm just going to look at the cold hard data, the standings.
Yeah,
they are unlikely to make the playoffs. That's just a fact. Fangraphs says 13% or whatever it says. I will say, based on just vibes and my look at the team and the roster and understanding of what they might do, I'll put it at like 20, 25.
Okay.
But that's still unlikely. So the biggest reason is just where they are right now, what they've done in the first 3.5 months. Second biggest reason is the offense, how inconsistent it's been. Like I've mentioned, it was a perfectly adequate offense. That's the bare minimum. That should be the bare minimum for a team that has invested this much into its hitters, into some of those guys. And then the third one, which I think is probably the biggest reason, is the starting pitching. They just don't have enough. So at some point, like that affects everyone. That affects the offense, because if you're digging yourself a 4-0 hole every other night, like it's hard to come back from. That affects the bullpen because you're putting a strain on the bullpen, and it's just harder to win games that way. So
I have a question.
Those are the reasons.
Okay. I have a question on top of my question before I let you give me 3 good reasons why they could or will make the playoffs. If you're AJ Preller, right, and are you making deals? Are you perhaps adding with the assumption just to make the playoffs, or because you think you can really make a legitimate run, a deep run in the playoffs? And by running the playoffs, I don't mean a 3-game wild card where you don't even play a home game, where you lose the first 2 and you don't even play a game at Petco Park. Is it because you believe?
I think any team that gets to the playoffs can make a run. You have to also like be set up to win a 3-game series. And the Padres with their bullpen are set up where they should be able to win a 3-game series. Like they're going to have Mason Miller and Adrian Morejon covering 10 to 12 outs every game. So like you're already in pretty good shape there no matter who your starters are. And then in theory, you're adding to have a starter for that. And then I don't know if their offense is adequate. Then there you go.
Okay, sorry. August, leave the remote control alone. Do not touch that. Oh no. There's like an accident waiting. There's an accident waiting to happen behind me. Do not watch. You can say hi to Mr. AJ Cassavell. You want to say hi to AJ?
Hi, Skibbity.
Not Skibbity. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win in the World Cup? Is it gonna be England, or is it going to be Argentina?
England.
Okay. England. Whoa. All right. AJ Cassavell. I think you need to get to World Cup, but let's go with the 3 reasons why the Padres could.
All right, the biggest one to me is they've done it. Like they've been hot in the second half before. They've done it each of the last 3 seasons where they've kind of proven, like 2023 included, like they got hot in the second half. Like they can do it. They're the team of these playoff teams that has the most experience. So like if you're asking me between Padres, Cardinals, Marlins, Nationals, Diamondbacks, like only one of those teams has made the playoffs in the last 2 seasons, and it's the Padres. They made it the last 2. So they've done it. They have the experience to do it. The second biggest reason I think is the uptick of Tatis and Machado. Like those guys need to be hitting, and we've seen that lately.
Yeah.
And then the third one, I guess I'll just go with the bullpen because it as overburdened as it's been, it's still unbelievably good, and they'll be getting Adam and Estrada back at some point soon.
Good deal. How big a void will the end of the World Cup be in your life? How are you preparing for that? That's a massive void. You can just tell, like, as someone who lives in PB, right? My greatest joy was watching like how much fun everybody was having, how packed all the bars and restaurants are. It was really cool. It's a blast.
Yeah, you're making me a little sad already, but it's not over yet, A. And B, I think it's about time that it ended. Like, we can get back to the regular. I'm just saying, I have loved it, but like, it's time for me to focus on the trade deadline and the San Diego Padres. So I've had a lot of fun the last 6 weeks. These few weeks coming up are going to be pretty important for the Padres. So they will have my undivided attention.
AJ, I'm not sure if you know it. It's a pivotal stretch for the Padres. It's pivotal. It's defining. So
it is, and I said that about their last road trip, and that one didn't go so well. So
let's
hope it's better than that one because that one was painfully bad.
God, that was brutal. That was absolutely brutal. Any thoughts on the end of daylight savings? Should that become official? Are you someone that enjoys daylight savings with the sun?
I could not possibly care any less, but really? I guess my birthday is always around the spring forward day. So there are years where I have a 23-hour birthday, shorter birthday than everyone else's. So I guess if it's gone, then I'll have a regular length birthday.
It's beneficial. Yeah. Okay, good deal. All right, AJ. Well, listen. It's a busy day. I know you have the trade deadline to get to. You have the World Cup. You have England, Argentina. It's blazing hot in PB. I need to just like get outside right now, find some cool air. So thank you for your time. By the time that we talk next week, I believe by then we will have a good indication as to the direction the Padres are leaning in at the deadline. Right? We'll know by next Tuesday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, we will. I think 5 games is enough. 5 out of 9.
I think 2 weeks from now. Next week we'll be right in the middle of it. We can dissect it all, and then 2 weeks from now we will know. That's my prediction.
And I'm also curious between now and then what other teams decide, buyers, sellers, and how that's going to shape the market. All right, good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. I appreciate you. Have fun today. Enjoy it. 2 more to go. Let's say bye to AJ.
Bye. Wee.
Okay, don't.
Bye, August.
It's a great way to play baseball, the right way to play baseball. You know, new era of baseball, have gotten away from that. But, yeah, just good baseball the way around, using those flags, you know.
Yeah, I think every season has a spurt where it sucks, and and then every season has a spurt where it's unbelievable. And I think we're hitting the spurt that sucks, and I think we're going to hit the spurt that's unbelievable. I think our second half is going to show who we are as a team, our ability to bounce back and really be that band of brothers together. So just have faith in us.